That's never happened. We did not drop the ball on that, it was dropped on their end because they were the ones that agreed to take care of that. So I think that before you really pass anything of this, that I think this part of it needs to be tabled so that we can sit down with the Corral Association, with the committee from the staff, and find out exactly what it is that they're pertaining for us to have to do, and then try to put a dollar cost to it, see if we can afford to do it. And that, but I think just to pass it generically the way it's written out now, you're gonna hang us real deep in there. They're gonna expect all the weeds to be taken care of. We'll be down there, on a monthly basis, cutting weeds down and trying to get rid of them. And there again, that takes away from my duties at the landfill. I'm in the landfill business, I'm not in the horse corral business. And that my primary concern is to take care of that landfill or the street if it may be. And on both of them departments, I got a full plate right now for things that need to be done.
Well, if the city has to hire somebody else, as far as helping you out with that, this board's gonna make the decision.
Well, and I realize that, but all I'm asking is let us sit down with the committee and find out exactly from them what they're talking about weed control and what they're expecting us to do about the weed control. Is it on the inside of the arena as well as along around the outside of it? What extra are they expecting on road maintenance? I do not have the proper type of dirt material at the landfill to cap them roadwork. I've got too much fine dirt in it, and as soon as you get it wet, it turns to mud. And that, so that would not work for their roads. And that, so the dirt's gotta be imported from somewhere. And that we don't have the capabilities of importing it in. We have no way to get our loader clear out to the 50 Club where that pit was at that they were gonna let us take the material from. JDL was supposed to haul it out there so we could load the trucks for them, but it never happened. So there are just too many variables in this right now that I think it could really hang us in the future for committing us to having to do something that we're not gonna have the time or the money to do. And I really think that we need to sit down with the Corral Association and the committee from the city, hammer this out, come up to what we figure we can afford or what we can do or we can't do, and then bring that back to the council and let you decide there if it works or not.
I thought that's what we were doing.
This
So,
is one of
I'll
the,
interject.
this is one of the things
That's not-
that I would like to see get done. I don't wanna shuffle this, the manure under the table again. And it's all done,
Yeah.
okay? Now, Marty, this is your agenda item. What do you think about this?
You know what, I think Rick's got some good points. Jan will be mad at me, but I move to table this until we can meet again on this.
I'm not mad, but I want to interject. What Rick doesn't know is that JPL came in on her own. Janelle
Janelle.
Matthews came in on her own with her truck and found 2 graders and grader operators and took care of the back lane to the best of their abilities. Okay? So
Can we
they
get
did-
a
It
time?
doesn't matter when it's this agenda item.
Can we
Maybe
really
not,
get a
but-
time now? We've had a motion, we've had a second, Bobby second. And can we get a time set up, and I mean
Soon.
real quick
Mhm.
on this? Because I am tired of listening to all
Me
the
too.
things that's nothing happening, because nothing is happening. I understand where Bruce is coming from.
3 years we've been talking about this, Mayor, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Marty, can we set up a meeting with these people
Absolutely.
and get this thing hammered out so the next time it comes up, you motion to table it? I want this thing taken care of in 2 weeks.
That sounds good.
You
Sounds
second it,
wonderful.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, 3-1. Okay, thank you, Jan. And
Thank you.
before you leave, this is not on the agenda item, but it's over. Jan's granddaughter plays Dorothy in Wizard of Oz. This is for her, from me, and it's a letter to her. It's not private. You can read it. I had Jennifer read it, but it's for her and the fabulous job she did.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, well, let's see, let's go on here. I'm so confused on all Okay, that was number 4. All right, I gotta turn the page. Okay, number 5, council member, city building inspector Christensen, discussion possible action, consideration For possible selection of options available to the city under code 4-2-14 regarding hazardous situation that exists at or property located at 1069 Campton Street, parcel 001-263-02, Ealing, Nevada. What do you got for it, Brad?
Okay, again, 2 weeks ago, I informed you we were gonna have some more of these coming up. I think you guys have all got the legals on these, on this house. These are the actual photos. Go on, pass those around, please. This is at 1069 Camp, and that's the one that actually had the fire in it, next to the county buildings. This one's been determined to, it has massive structural damage. And there's,
What part of Campton is this?
it's right across the street from the senior center.
Oh, this is the burnout, but, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
When was the fire?
January 29th.
Yeah, I know, I've been by there.
So we just, again, we're gonna have another one of these in about a month. Just some direction on what we wanna do on this.
Well, the last one, did we send a letter and?
Yeah,
Send
and
a letter.
that's,
I haven't heard anything in response to that, so I don't know if anything's been done.
Wasn't it a month and then
we have to wait additional 30 days. You have to wait 30 days before it can actually come in front of the council, and then there's another 30 days depending on what the council decides.
I move we send a letter to the owner.
Has the owner been contacted about this already?
Yes,
And what was the response?
there was no response.
None at all.
No, all I have is it's in the stuff that I gave you, it was in your packet, where you can see that they did receive a certified letter.
But no response?
No response.
So I have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And number 6, is that yours? You're doing it, okay. Number 6, variant discussion possible action consideration to have the city attorney and city engineer begin the process to work with the White Pine County to get the city of Ely ownership of land on the golf course so well as currently located. Anything on that?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did the city council, because that was prior to what I got on, did they vote to put it in that spot? I mean, how was that spot picked?
That goes back a few years.
A long time ago.
You find an engineer who knows what he's doing.
Were you married in, Mr. Chancellor? Please.
So it happened during
Do you
your
know when that was?
period. During your period, not mine.
In my period. You remember that?
No, I attended one meeting with, one of the mining guys, says he couldn't believe it was put there that far away from the water tanks. That's all I remember. I had no idea.
Was that during the thing when they wanted to get the permission to dewater or?
Well, I thought the whole process was, yeah.
That was all that whole process,
I
okay.
have no idea how that happened.
I move we have sent Kevin, write a letter and send Kevin during his meeting someday.
Second.
Wait, so you're going to make me
Go
do
with
it
some
myself? Or have the city engineer go with me?
We still have the time for discussion.
I didn't quite hear that.
I had it.
That's a good
I move we
answer.
send a letter to the county asking him for, and I think the engineer can draw up the legal description of the land that we.
Well, we had, based on one of your past meetings, we had prepared
You should have.
a little exhibit. And the way that I look at it, going around the fences, it's approximately 13,000 feet, about a third of an acre. Is what the way I would say that we approach the county to get that.
Well, the motion is to send the letter and get this thing done.
And I guess one of the proposals would be either they give us the land or we look at possibly leasing the land for 99 years at $1 a year or
I
something.
think we should
Let's
just,
ask
let's
them to
ask
give
them
us
to give us the land.
That's all part of the motion. Did you
Second.
second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll go to number 7, and I would ask it just be tabled until we get the union agreement before the council will have a better idea. I'll read it. Number 7, council members, discussion possible action consideration for the city council to decide if an increase in wages will be budgeted for employees not represented by the union, including the amount for fiscal year 2013 and 14. And I think we should go ahead and table this and see if we get an idea. Do you make a motion, you a second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Number 8, Councilman Westland, discussion possible action, consideration to deepen the water service lines and meter pits on Center Street between Ogden Avenue and Stevens Avenue prior to the repaving of Center Street.
Okay, very quickly,
Yeah.
hear me out on this. My only concern, the reason I have this on here is because I do not like the idea of paving over any kind of service that we think might need to be addressed in the future. I'd like it to be as good as we can. Now, we know that we have lines there that might not be as deep as we want them to be, but my suggestion would be, in fact, this is my motion. I'm going to move right now, and this is how I worded it. Move to direct the water supervisor in concurrence with the city engineer to remediate within practical limits any water sewer deficiencies on Center Street prior to paving. And by that I mean if there's a known meter pit, something that we know is too shallow or we feel it's too shallow, if there's a lateral we think is too shallow, something that could be practically taken care of, that we do that prior to paving Center Street. Because I don't want to have a freeze up and have to dig up new pavement. And so that is my motion.
I think that's probably already been considered.
Well, if it
By
has,
people here about 15 or 25, 30 years ago, we don't pave anything unless we have to put the laterals in first. Okay, and in regard to depth from the water line, these people know that. I'm sure the engineer knows.
Well, this is something to investigate, look into, and is what you're saying? Is
No.
that kind of what you're?
no. Move to direct the water supervisor in concurrence with the city engineer to remediate within practical limits any water sewer deficiencies on Center Street prior to paving.
What did they do over
In
there
other words,
now?
leave that up to the water supervisor and the engineer. And if they look at it and everything's fine, now like they say, if there's something that's not practical to address, then obviously we can't go in and redo a bunch of main line. That's not practical. But if there is a service that they deem should be deeper, I think they should be directed to do that before we pave Center Street.
I second.
So this will be left up to them to determine that.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? 3 to 1, pass.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9, council members, city treasurer trash discussion of possible action, approval to change checking account activities from Bank of America, First National Bank of Neely. So we discussed that the last meeting.
I did contact BFA about seeing if we could get reduced fees on our checking account, and they looked at it, but it wasn't a whole lot. I did contact First National. They said they could take on the funds and they would not charge us any fees for our checking account. I contacted Nevada Bank and Trust. They could take on, well, okay, they can't take on our funds because they're limited by state law on how many governmental funds they can have based on their capital. And so they said at this time they couldn't accept us to come as a customer. So that's why I would like to change our checking account to First National Bank. We have 2 accounts at at B of A that the one is set up to get direct deposits from the EMS funds. I would like to leave that alone there because they don't charge us any fees for that account. That would just save us from having to go through the work of redoing the direct deposit work for the EMS payments. And at this time, they do not charge us anything for that bank account. So this would be just strictly our general checking account. I would like permission to switch from Bank of America to substantially.
Great idea, and so I move we approve.
Okay. Any other motion? Go second. Marty?
Yes.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 10, council member, city attorney Briggs, discussion possible action approval of first reading ordinance 657, bill number 2013-03, and ordinance containing amendments to Charter 7-1 of the Ely City Code to resolve inconsistencies in the relationship between the city of Ely Council and the volunteer fire department. What are you doing here?
This was in your packets at the last meeting. We had the old ordinance and then also the old code, and then also the new proposals. I did work with Ross, and I know he sent it to some of his, some of the firemen, so we got input from a number of people. And this is what came of that, and essentially it just reflects what is happening now. It's not going to change anything as to what is happening. Our ordinance was just so out of date that it was not consistent with what the practice is currently. So,
That's a great idea. I think we need to do this with other ordinances that bring up the rural actions. I'll move we approve this.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, number 11, council members, discussion possible action, direction from the council on how to proceed with the negotiations between the city of Ely and Basin Engineering for the engineering and surveying services.
My idea, I'll throw out my idea first, I guess. Everybody's quiet. I would like to send it back to the utility board and have them work on it and come back to the city council to make sure we contract. I think in just tonight, where the Nevada Northern Railroad wanted engineering work, I think it needs, things like that need to be more explicit in the contract on who can get our engineer to do work. I mean, I don't think that was in a contract before, and I think it puts the engineer in a bad situation if we don't have it written out for him to decide who can. It shouldn't be his decision who decides what he works for. That should be more written out. Plus the work.
I can tell you that yesterday I received a call from John O'Flaherty, a member of the utility board, and he had requested that on the next utility board meeting that we have an agenda item to direct staff to create a committee to work with Basin Engineering to see if they can reach some kind of an agreement with regards to the engineering. Obviously, that would not happen if we put it on their agenda to have them establish a committee and negotiate. It probably would not be ready for your next meeting.
I know, I still think we can go through the utility board. BJ, is that,
I'm very comfortable with that.
so,
Does that, we need it as a motion or just kick it back to you?
actually, we could,
Well, I think a motion would be good.
a motion, that we just carry over to an agenda item on the utility board in the next city council meeting. So I move we send this to the utility board and for the next agenda in the next city council.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 12, Councilman Sologic, Fire Chief Rivera, discussion possible action, approval to purchase a used ambulance from White Pine County. Now, what's this gonna cost us, Rob?
Well, I don't think it's been approved by the county commission, but the last one sold for $1.
They sold one for $1?
Yeah.
We bought one for 10, Jim.
Yeah.
Last year.
You knew I were better than I did. So I guess it would be affordable.
So all you need is just for us to let you go over and talk to them? or what?
No, just to have permission to have council request it. We take part in that house.
I don't see anything wrong with that. That's us for the price.
And then they can put on the kind of commission and see that, and they can see what happens.
I would authorize Chief Rivera to go up to $10 on the purchase.
I think we had at least.
So you just want us to pass a motion to ask the county?
we want permission to go proceed and do this, just send it to the county letter.
For Jim, do we have money to budget for that?
I just pass the hat for.
All right, well, what do you guys, want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, make the offer of $1 per acre.
All in favor, say aye.
Alright.
Okay, now, we're limited to just a dollar. We'll take it.
I just like I said, the letter that we would appreciate Hamlin's.
I'll take that. All right.
But the offer is, or the motion is to offer a dollar.
Right, that's fine, that's
If
fine.
you want to change that motion,
Yeah, I would like to,
You want a little
Honestly, I
more,
tried. I
you
tried.
got a little more leeway, yeah? Yeah.
I would probably like a letter to ask requests.
Okay, can you
To
take
give us that
that?
ambulance,
I can
but I know
make
there's
that-
always gotta be a monetary value involved.
I
Let them
can
decide
change my
that.
motion to say we would request from the county to bring this reduced ambulance.
Okay, you made the second?
Um,
Well, can you, okay, can you second that? All right, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, now, it gives a little more leeway.
I'll look for some more good deals.
All right, thank you. Okay, the mayor will recess the regular city council meeting for a closed session. And, we have,
We don't really,
do I need to read this one?
we don't need it, we don't want to have it.
We don't need
there's
it?
not going to be a motion to go into closed session.
Okay, so it'll fail because of, no motion. Very good. Okay, and we'll go to number 7, report, starting with Marty Russell.
Nothing at this time.
Yeah,
Nothing.
Rob.
Nothing,
Robert,
nothing.
you have nothing. Well, then the mayor, what do you need now? You know, I just wanted to say that, you know, I give Jan Carter's granddaughter, played Dorothy. She's, believe it or not, if anybody's seen the play, this girl's only 12 years old. She's playing in a high school play, and she's very good. She's very good. But for her age and the fact that she was a understudy, she wasn't the main, something happened to the main character, she had to step in within a day or two. She did a remarkable job. And it's a wonderful play, The Wizard of Oz. Kathy Tucker does a great job with the student final. What, we got 1 week left, 2 weeks?
There's only 2 more performances, Friday night and Saturday matinee. Normally, they would do a Saturday evening performance, except prom is going on, so they thought they had too many actors that wanted to attend prom, so there will be no Saturday
No
evening
actors?
performance.
Yeah.
They're all called actors.
She was a good actress, I'll tell you that, and a great voice. So if any of you get a chance to get over there and see it, it's a wonderful thing, it supports our community. I went to the premiere now, I try not to miss a premiere. And went to the Robinson mining thing the other day, many of you there, I saw it. Supporting our community again and getting together with the mine and finding out more and more information. They put on a nice little group over there, we had a chance to get together. By the way, both city and county were actually talking to us over there. And so we get along pretty good. So other than that, I think that's about my report. And, okay, number 8, agenda items for the next regular city council meeting. Any ideas right now?
I asked,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Reconsideration of the plans for the park update, broadband park update.
Well, I didn't really want to reconsider the plan. What I really wanted to do was talk about the plan with the backstop coming down, and what the city could do to mitigate. You know, we can put portable backstops all around that field and have a lot more use for the city than keeping this one backstop that is old and is up against that concession stand, which we talked about and we passed doing that in February.
Was that unanimous? Okay, good.
Let's see. Anyway, I think it was, I had a February 14th, and I talked to Mike Craycraft about this morning, and my grandson in Phoenix plays in the youth park, and they want us to have 15 of these portable backstops, and set them all up around, and they can use the back, they can, it's be a better use than putting permanent ones in there, because you could use them for, when they're not using those, you can put them for soccer or kickball or anything else, parties for the park, but if you put
Marty, is that kind of what you were kind of thinking the same, or you just wanted to not do the park?
Boy, I didn't realize how much interest there was and passion involved in this softball, baseball.
No, I don't think any of us did.
Okay, and so the last couple of days, I've been really hearing about it, and I was with Dale when we did visit with Mike this morning, and I did review a bunch of my notes going back to 2011, and I've got drawings that Dean Day drew, I've got things from Sunrise, and on none of it can you clearly tell where trees are gonna be located. So I think it's time, I think we owe the public a good discussion period, including what Dale is saying about portable backstops. We need to show the public what our plan is for this Broadbent Park, because in fairness, the SNPLMA money is affecting a small portion of what is in total Broadbent Park.
Okay, well, why don't
And
we,
so I think we need to have it on the agenda.
you get together and let Jennifer know and on your, because I really like yours too. I'm not sure about how you want to handle yours, but we'll get both on the agenda. Fine.
Well, just get a dialogue going and figure out how we want it to go.
Okay, no problem
Are
with
you
that.
gonna want Sunrise to try and come back up here and?
Let me contact them and see what they can provide, because it looks to me like their scope of work is fairly limited. And a lot of what this issue is about is way outside what Sunrise is dealing with.
It's not, Sunrise Farm, well, what I want to talk about doesn't have anything to do with it. And I think in the motion too, we put out there in the paper that this backstop wouldn't be coming down until the fall anyway. I mean, it's not something that's gonna happen tomorrow.
No.
Or the same with the portable backstop, it's something we could work on this summer and fall and have.
I'm ready for next year.
No, the portable backstop probably has a safety issue too.
Leave anchor them down.
No.
I've seen it really well.
Sometimes.
If you go to any park, any big city parks, you'll see hundreds of them.
I've seen it used many. But we'll put that on the agenda and we'll talk about it later.
I got a couple things also. That was gonna be one of them, but they got that ready. Okay, one thing, is Lowell Somerville wants me to put him on the agenda for the next meeting to, talk about, again, speeders on Ogden Avenue, the possible stop sign situation, so let's put him on there. What's his name? Lowell Somerville.
It's for a four-way stop at the corner of Ogden and Center Street.
And, I also want to put on the agenda for the city to adopt a resolution in support of Nevada Wildfire Awareness Week, May 4th to the 11th. So put that on there to maybe approve a resolution in support of that.
Isn't that something that we can have the mayor approve before? Is that what's
Well, that's
in, since
already-
May 4th is gonna be after our next meeting?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
I think you can approve something like that. That wasn't part of the list,
I
Connor.
can't do that? Oh, Jennifer, I mean, she's on.
We got that request the 22nd, so League of City Senators a little bit late, but we definitely, that would be a good idea to support that, we're surrounded by wildlife.
We have plenty afterwards.
Well, what you can do is, the mayor can go ahead and sign such a proclamation, and then you can affirm that at your next meeting. I mean, that does happen under certain circumstances as well. And certainly if you don't affirm that, then it would have to be with
Yeah, we'll put it
the.
on that, we'll just,
Yeah, we'll just get it worked up and let me know when it comes in. Okay,
We will also have a first reading of our cross-connection ordinance.
Okay.
I should mention that I do have the government civil conference that is next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I'll be leaving Tuesday afternoon, so I've got to have that ordinance done before I leave on this coming Tuesday, so I've been working on it.
Anything else? No. Okay. come up with some new things, we'll have them on the agenda. All right, with that, we'll go to our final public comment. Comments I've seen 3 minutes length, and all of them stand under 8.04. Anybody for public comment?
Just a short question. My name is Jim Northus, and this is just a question for Jeanette. Did the First National Bank offer to collateralize
Yes.
anything with FDIC? Okay, that was my only question.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, to date, you've not responded to my request for public information in regards to that memo from Jamal to you and the city council in regards to the collection of water for the golf course. It's a lot of money. We're going back to 2011. I'd like an answer. You keep raising everybody else's rates, and yet you seem to be ignoring the big numbers. Mr. Mayor, I've asked in the past and I'm asking again for the copy of the letter authorizing Mr. Bybee to go before the county commission to ask for the $270,000. When was it put on the agenda? Who approved it? Nothing yet. Now we don't know where the money is. Mr. Mayor, I've brought before my concerns in regards to the Mount Leader project. I've not seen any movement on the fencing off of the crevices they've left behind. You put up a turf of some sort, barrier, on the 6-inch drop from the sidewalk to the pavement, and then you're looking the other way when you have drops of 5 or 6 feet in some areas on that property. It's open. You even have a sign on there, caution children playing. Now, if you're really concerned about public safety, let's do something. The weather's good. Have plenty of time to address the issue. I've not seen anything on the agenda on any of that. You also have a big problem with drainage. A lot of that water is being collected from Reno Road, the terrace area, going down through there, and then it's still being dumped over the hill. It's affecting Potter's Field Cemetery. You've got to do something, Mr. Mayor. You can't just keep looking the other way like you have been. Mr. Mayor, I've talked to you in the past, and I get to receive any answer in regards to what are you going to do about the violation of city ordinance regarding fence height. You've got a problem out front here, and yet you took poor Mr. Pope to court, fined him $300, which you didn't really have to spare, and yet you're ignoring your own ordinances. On First Street, you put in several hundred feet of sidewalk, 4 foot, which is for residential area, and in fact, it should be 5 foot. You got to pay attention to your own rules and regulations, Mr. Mayor. I've asked in the past in regards to Avenue C and some of the new curb and gutter put in there. This county just bought the Times building. You're going to have greater traffic down there, and yet you're not going to be able to address the ADA handicap access for anyone who needs it on those corners. I believe 3 are in non-compliance. It's been several years, Mr. Mayor. You got to look at that. Quit ignoring the issue. Mr. Mayor, can I get some answers?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
May I address one of his concerns?
Sure.
George, I want to thank Brad Christensen. He did send out and copy me a notice to Mount Wheeler about the need for those handrails, and that needs to be followed up on. But I know that he started that.
Well, I'd like to see it.
Are they out there?
Yeah, they're down for 2 days.
Oh, 2 days. Good. Thank you.
It's been complete for 2 days.
I'd like to
Well,
copy
then
that
we're
letter,
not
and then I'll go
asking-
check.
Anybody else for
We're
public
gonna check
comment?
right now, right by it.
I will.
Anybody else for public comment? Want to make a public comment, Rick? Yeah. Okay.
I'd just like to try to clarify Mr. Chatchis' concerns on Canton Street at the Copper Queen. And the city of Ely has a 55-foot right-of-way there. We have a 35-foot right-of-way prescribed from NDOT coming off the Great Basin onto Canton Street. The way that that street is laid out, where Dean had that curb and gutter shot in, is for a 35-foot road. If you go to Google Map, pull it up, it'll show the center line of Canton Street, the center line is supposed to go off of that center line to front of curb, is 17.5 feet. And that, and then, the way it's set now, a 35-foot road fits through there, a 40-foot road will not fit through there without tearing out everybody's yards and stuff.
Below me.
But, the right-of-way coming off is 35 feet, so why are we gonna have a 40-foot road if we can only have a 35-foot entrance to come back out onto the highway and bottleneck it down? So it was put in, for a 35-foot road. There's 2 feet of curb and gutter, 5 feet of sidewalk, then there's 3 feet behind the sidewalk, there's a corridor for the power poles that are running down along Camden Street. And so if you figure that 3 feet in on top of the other, it's a 55-foot right-of-way. Just because the city is doing a 35-foot road there, the sidewalks go in on city right-of-way, it doesn't go in on private property right-of-way. And it's set where it needs to be, and the Bidees are in full compliance of the way it is. Just because that 3 feet is behind the sidewalk and Shane Company paved all the way up to the back of the sidewalk to keep the weeds down, doesn't mean they took ownership of that property. The city of Ely still owns that 3-foot strip behind the sidewalk, that's corridor for the power lines. The 35-foot road goes all the way through there. If you go to J.B. Walker in the cemetery, where we got curb and gutter on both sides of the street, the pavement is 33 feet wide there. If you go all the way down over the hill to 11th Street, where you turn to come over towards Altman to our place, the road, the pavement down there is 34 feet. But that's got the old road curb on it. If we was to take that road curb out and put the L curb in there, we would gain 6 more inches of gutter on each side of the street, which would narrow the street back to 33 feet. So everything that was done at the Copper Queen for 35 feet fits right into the plans of what we'll fill on Camden Street all the way through until you get down to the duck pond where the new construction took place. So I hope this will satisfy Mr. Chaptis, that the Bidees did do nothing wrong there. They haven't stolen property from the city of Ely. It's still our property, and everything was shot in by the city engineer for a 35-foot pavement width road, 2 feet of curb and gutter. The sidewalk is 49, and if you have the street behind it on each side, it comes to 55 feet.
He's not a surveyor.
Thank you, Rick.
I got 3 minutes for my brother, Mr. Mayor.
Bruce, did you want to?
No,
I thought you started, you were going to.
I was gonna ask a question, but it doesn't matter.
Anybody else for public comment? If there's no other public comment, we'll close public comment, and we have a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Are you all in favor?
I think the public wants
Jennifer, do I need to sign this? Or do For what they can do with it? Towards the